The Trail of the Scorpion, written by Martin Hicks, narrated by John Delino Ziegler, Jr. Prologue. The heat of the October day had entered the steady process of decline as Commander James Rutherford emerged from the after hatch of the auxiliary steam gunboat Spartan. He nodded to Maurice Halkett, the acting third lieutenant and deck officer, before beginning to pace forward on his customary route along the port side of the deck, taking in the various features on board and ashore as he went. It was just over 24 hours since his ship had dropped anchor here at Batavia, the main port and administrative center of the entire Dutch East Indies. Having arrived the previous afternoon, Rutherford had dispatched Lieutenant Godfrey Barrett Bryce, the Spartan's acting second lieutenant, ashore. His orders took him to the port superintendent's office, notifying the Dutch authorities of the ship's arrival and the innocuous intentions to take on provisions and coal, and to allow the men of her crew some liberty time ashore during her period in the port. The anchorage at Batavia was busy with traffic, with a sequence of cargo vessels of various shapes and sizes arriving and departing throughout the day. Anchored in that outer approach, not far from Spartan, as though overseeing the proceedings, was a Dutch warship of similar size to her. There was no particular reason, Rutherford inwardly acknowledged as he continued to pace, for further contact with the Dutch authorities to take place. Spartan had been guided to its place in the anchorage by a local pilot, and the port medical officer had made his customary visit to satisfy himself that no undesirable contagions were being introduced to the port by the ship's arrival. That done, she and her company had been left to their own devices through the previous evening and the now concluding day, undisturbed by further bureaucracy, and it was perfectly possible, he ruminated to himself, that their stay here would proceed to its conclusion on that basis. There must, however, be at least some degree of curiosity ashore as to the identity and purpose of this newly arrived warship that was clearly British, but flew neither naval ensign nor company color, for Spartan was a vessel like almost no other. She was an orphan, owned and claimed by neither the Royal Navy nor the Honorable East India Company. Converted, equipped, and dispatched from Calcutta the previous spring, she had been charged with the suppression of piracy in the China Seas and was authorized, on an entirely unofficial basis, to go where that mission could be best prosecuted. Nationality could all too easily become an encumbrance in such circumstances, especially since the piracy that Rutherford and his ship had been charged with suppressing was more than just a familiar trade of random seaborne plundering. That practice had been developed over the previous decade into something that more resembled a commercial and political empire by a Chinese criminal named Liang Ziu, known throughout the region by the dubious title of the Scorpion. Having started from relatively modest beginnings, Liang now operated an illegal organization that was allied to various local rulers and European companies and traders. The former provided support, of a tacit kind at least, mainly in exchange for bribes, while the latter provided the means by which the plunder accumulated by his ships was reintroduced through various ports throughout the region as legitimate cargo. Twice over the previous 6 months, Rutherford had succeeded in locating and destroying island bases, where such cargoes, plundered by Liang ships, had been transferred to European-owned or chartered vessels, by which the process of reintroduction was carried out. In addition, in the course of one of these forays, a modern pirate schooner had been encountered, pursued, and destroyed. But Spartan too had suffered casualties in achieving these successes, for, at the second of the two island bases, she had lost 11 of her crew, including her second lieutenant, and had only narrowly escaped outright destruction when a decoy ship loaded with gunpowder had exploded less than half a cable's length from her. Now she had come to Batavia, but there were risks to be weighed any time that she made port, for Liang's network of spies was a well-developed one and,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?